This program and its contents are designed for information and educational purposes only. This program does not render medical advice or professional services and is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. The information provided here should not be used for the purposes of diagnosing or treating a medical or psychiatric condition. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, consult your healthcare provider.
Hi, welcome back to Positive Momentum TV. I'm Diane Silva, and again today we have Chris Silva, and we're going to continue talking about our attempted trip to Hawaii, and spoiler alert, attempted. And we're going to kind of recap on what we learned. The last segment we talked about how I did not make it on the plane, and Chris still went, which was, to me, although heartbreaking in its own right, it was the best learning experience we could have possibly gotten, especially where anxiety is concerned, and letting anxiety know it's not always going to win. And when it does show up, it could be a pretty costly price. A pretty hefty price is what we're going to pay for this. And it could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be anything. So, we've talked a lot on anxiety throughout this last couple segments. What we want to do is focus on the cost of letting anxiety win and not really pushing through, and what it does to your life. So let's start with, okay, Chris, where we left off is I had gotten off the plane in Omaha. You continued on. We made contact when you got to Phoenix, and we knew the relationship was not going to dissolve, which was one of my biggest concerns at the time, because you never know. Mm-hmm. It was another what if. And as one of our very intelligent crew members just pointed out, one of us was forward looking, the other one was backward looking. But that's what anxiety does. It doesn't let you look, it doesn't embrace the uncertainty.
Right.
It wants to know, it wants to be in control. And the only way to be in control is to live in yesterday, because that's the only way you know anything. Looking at tomorrow, looking 5 minutes from now, we have no idea. We need to embrace uncertainty. So before we get into all the big major changes, and there were some big changes, let's kind of talk, like Chris, just real quick, anything you can want to contribute for at least the airport, the trip, the actual travel time, first day.
I think, as you put it, the conversation that we had in Phoenix, and then actually when I got to Hawaii, was in the aspect, the biggest part that I got out of our conversations was the fact that you had I could hear it in your voice. You had a resolve to address anxiety like you've never done it before. Mm-hmm. And in the past, it seemed like whatever you went through, it still seemed where anxiety had the edge on you. Mm-hmm. And always it was kind of holding you back. Mm-hmm. Where with what we went through, it didn't there was definitely a shift in
determination
in your drive, saying, okay, enough's enough, my turn.
Pretty much it was. And like I said, one of the things I pointed out in the last segment is I realized how much our relationship means to me. I realized a lot of things. I realized how much you meant to me, and still do. We can know things, but I knew it. It's something that, as traumatic and as heartbreaking as the whole experience was, it was life-changing. It was eye-opening. It was transitional.
Which is kind of weird, because the life-changing part that you had talked about, even prior to taking the flight, you knew something was going to change, mm-hmm. but your focus was on the negative part of a change. As to what now you're saying, it was life-changing, but for the better.
But see, and that's another thing, is my mindset was very experiential. Well, I remember when, mm-hmm. Well, what if this happens again? And again, I'm going to go back to, I need to embrace the uncertainty. Mm-hmm. Because if I want certainty, I have to live in yesterday. And I'm so tired of looking backwards. I don't know how much time I have left. Genetically speaking, I'm on borrowed time. But I want the best to be what it can be. And
Sure.
when I say the best it can be, it doesn't mean, oh, okay, anxiety's going to win and I'm going to have to stay home. No, 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 no. No. Just no. You know, and one of the things for the 2 weeks, you know, as I'm trying to consider, as I'm considering booking a new flight, because I've tried to get the red eye out, and I'm like, I don't, $1,000, okay, you cost me a lot, but I don't know if I can let you cost this. You know, if I can do this. What can you do in Hawaii for $1,000 that, you know, we wouldn't be, you know,
Could do a lot.
right. So it wasn't to me, you know, again, there was anxiety involved, I'm sure, because there wasn't enough of a push to make me go again, you know.
But at the same time, you also had said to me that even if you booked the flight, you still didn't know if you were going to be able to get on the flight.
Right. So I wouldn't even booked the, you know, I could have booked Southwest because they're very flexible, which is great for those of us with anxiety. We have, as much as I didn't want to have an out, I wanted to make myself do this. You know, the therapists and the psychiatrists and everybody I'm talking to that, you know, has dealt with anxiety before in their own right, not just out of the books. You have to have an alternative. You can't just force yourself to do it because then you're white knuckling it and you're probably not going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I gave myself the out when I was at the airport. I can get off this plane. However, shame and the shame cartel are standing there with you, right at that door, you know, that chicken door, as they call it, you know, or at the roller coasters and
Yep.
stuff.
Using
So you're
parks.
trading one set of emotions for another. There may be relief, but it's very short-lived.
Mhm.
I mean, instantaneous. You're it's like walking through a door. And for me, it was the shame, the fear, a different type of fear. What was going to happen to our relationship? And even though, you know, our conversations were great, and I think our relationship got stronger, I didn't know what was going to happen when you actually got back.
Mhm.
You know, I got to talk to you every day, which was great, but I didn't get to experience 12 days of you on vacation, you know, which kind of was a bummer. At the same time, I have to look at the positive, and no, I'm not trying to make this into a good thing. Please understand, this is not a good thing. But there is positive, and I have to find it.
There was growth. There was growth in the whole process.
Right.
And that's the important part about even getting one step closer to, you know, working through anxiety is the fact of working through each of those slow steps. And even after the flight, you know, we've learned more since then, since I've gotten back,
Right.
on how to address future trips. So.
And I'm coming up with a plan, a whole system, you know, for me. And if it works, as we tweak it, I'll share it. You know, I want everybody to be able to have the life they want to have and not have to endure what we had to go through. You know, and not that, and that's why I'm saying it wasn't horrible to the nth degree. You got to do some things you wouldn't have got to do if I would have been there, and that is just experience yourself with your family. You didn't have anybody to concern yourself with. You didn't have to worry about me. I had your mom, you know, so you were able to actually let go and have 12 days. Yeah, there was moments where it was really kind of sad. I had moments that was really kind of sad, a lot of it. But we both got to do things and experiences and deal with this without the other one there. You didn't have to be strong for me. I didn't have to be strong for you. You got to enjoy your aunts, your uncle, you know, your aunt and uncle, your cousins, your sister. You got to enjoy their company and experience things you didn't get to experience as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I got to deal with what I had to deal with. You know, I got to sit there and cry and feel and write or not or whatever. And the only one I had to concern myself was with me. You had to concern yourself with you. So that's the positive that came out of this, along with how deep and how deeply I felt our relationship. Mm-hmm. So some walls broke down. When that plane pulled away from the gate, it took some walls with it, along with my heart. You know, but it was good and it was bad at the same time.
Right.
There's no judgment. It was what it was. It was transitional. I will tell you, it won't happen again, ever. Period. No. I
You
can't.
heard it here.
It can't. I can't let it win. It's still there. We're going to come up with an agreement. We're going to come up with a system. We're going to come up with something. But I really wanted to break up with it. And somebody, wise person, told me, yeah, you're just going to set yourself up for failure doing that. Anxiety is a part of me. It is who, it is, I have anxiety symptoms. It's not who I am. So I just have to accommodate any more than if I was in, needed help with crutches or something else. It's just, okay, what extra steps do I need to take? What extra steps do we need to take? And I'm not alone in this. And that's one thing people need to realize too, is you're not alone. There's people here who are willing to help. And your partner, your friends, your loved ones. If they're not willing to help, they're not truly your friends or loved ones, or they're just tired. And they can't do it. Not everybody has the capacity to do this.
And that's the thing that a person that anxiety has to kind of remember, is in the aspect of the people that may support them. At that moment, the person that is supporting them may not have the strength to support them. So that's where getting rid of the judgments on both sides can help strengthen and build, what's moving forward.
Yeah, and it's if you think it's wearing on the person with anxiety, or those of us who have experienced anxiety, just can you imagine what it's doing to the people who are around? Like I said in the last segment, in 10 minutes, I had changed my mind twice. Internally more than that, but I put this, poor guy on a roller coaster. Okay, no, I'm not going. Yeah, I'm going. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. If I would have been me, I know I have little patience. I'd have probably said, you're not going, just forget it. And you've said that at one point, but it was more of a, okay, let's not deal with the anxiety, let's just go. So, no, this is not over.